Hi everybody. In our previous video lecture, we used the COUNTIF, SUMIF, COUNTIFs, and SUMIFs functions to answer various questions about Lion Company's employees. In this video, we'll use nested if and or logical functions to write a formula designed to provide additional information about the employees. This is a continuation of the work we created in the previous video. We'll continue by using the same data worksheet and assignment instructions that you printed or downloaded for the previous lecture. Let's get started by gaining an understanding of the information we need to report about each employee in column I. Page down towards the bottom of your employee information worksheet. The goal is to write one long formula in cell I7 that can be copied down to yield the following results for each employee. If the employee is in the accounting department and went to Sacramento City College, give them a bonus. So we want the formula to write the word bonus in column I for any employee that meet those two criteria. If the employee is not in the accounting department but did go to SCC, give them a great. If the employee did not go to SCC but is in the accounting department, give them a good. Employees not in the accounting department but went to CSUS or UCD and made more than $100,000 are given a working hard, and everybody else gets an above average. Nested if and or statements are very complicated, can be very long, and can be very difficult to write. The trick is to be very careful about the logic you are using. To help you with this, I've given you a layout sheet that we can use to write the step-by-step formula for each part of our equation. Please note that this layout sheet can be modified and help you write other nested if and or formulas. You might need it in the homework. In order to avoid jumping between two sheets as we work on this project, I've copied the pertinent information on this layout sheet to the employee information sheet. I'll delete these messy columns for a cleaner presentation once I get the formula to work for I7 through I17. If the employee is in the accounting department and went to Sacramento City College, we're going to give them a bonus. So the first test is an if and formula. I'm writing this formula with you so that you can see how Excel writes you through the logical progression in the formula. We just told Excel it's an if-and formula. So Excel now is waiting for us to write the first logical argument in the formula. So if the employee is in the accounting department, so if C7 equals accounting, put in a comma, which is kind of stands for the word and see how Excel jumped over to the next logical argument in the and statement. If they're in the accounting department and go to SCC, so we want to say G7 equals if that's true, Excel now is saying if that's true, what do? We give them the word bonus. Notice that I have very carefully inserted quotation marks around all text. You must do that. If you don't do that, your formula simply is not going to work. Comma gets it over to the value if false. Well, the value if false is another if and statement. So if it could be if, it could be if and, it could be if and or. But it's a statement. So if it's false, we're going to go down to the second test. After we click on OK on that one, enter. So the second test, the formula is equals if they're not in the accounting department but went to SCC, give them a grade. We don't have to tell them, the Excel, that they're not in the accounting department. Excel already knows that because it failed the test up here. We're writing the if not true portion of this statement. So the formula can be written if G7 equals SCC. Give them, if true, a great. If false, we need to write another if statement. And the third statement says they didn't go to SCC, but they are in the accounting department. The computer already knows at this point that they did not go to SCC because we are in the if false portion of this formula. So if that's false, then they didn't go to SCC. So we don't have to tell the computer again that they didn't go to FCC. So the formula would be written if they're in the accounting department, give them a good. If C7 equals accounting, value if true, good. Value if false is another if and or statement to come up with if they're not in the accounting department, but they went to CSUS or UC Davis and make more than $100,000, they get the words working hard. So let's write a formula that'll work for that part of our statement. If and or we're going to take care of the or statement first. If they went to CSUS or UCD, that's what the or logical one is what Excel is waiting for. if G7 equals CSUS, and that comma stands for or, and now it's moved on to the second logical argument in the or statement. G7 equals UCD, now it's waiting for the first statement in the and the employee made more than $100,000, so H7 is greater than 100,000. And the value, if true, will be working hard, and the value, if false, will be above average. So now that we know the formula for each of our 4 tests, we can write one long formula in C17 that can be copied down through I17 to yield the desired results for each employee. Let me warn you, this formula must be very precisely written. There can be no mistakes or it simply won't work. The most common mistakes include not having enough parentheses, leaving out commas, or not putting quotation marks around text, or maybe putting an extra space in the formula that doesn't require a space. So be very, very careful in writing the formula. Let's first clean up these little equal signs in front of our formula for the second, third, and fourth test. I needed them to demonstrate to you how Excel will walk you through the logic in each of these formulas. But they won't be used when we string these 4 formulas together to create one humongous formula. Why don't you pause the video and combine these 4 formulas into one formula in I7. When you finish writing the formula, hit enter, and the word bonus should show up in the cell I7. Then start the video again. So here are the 4 formulas strung together. And as mentioned here, there were 4 if statements, so I needed to close the whole thing up with 4 right parentheses. And entering that formula does get us the word bonus for this employee, which is correct. He is in the accounting department and did go to Sacramento City College. So now I'm going to copy that formula down, and if I didn't make any mistakes at all, I will get the desired result for each of the employees. There we go. Excellent. Well, that's all for the Chapter 4 video lectures. Please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions. See you next time in Chapter 5.